Cafe in Port Allen. Another day where Tremonti's still
out of power, trying to get it back.
Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge, still out of power. Hopefully they'll be back soon, as much of Baton Rouge is starting to come back online. At least when you drive down I-10 in Baton Rouge, you can see a lot of places around College and whatnot that have power. So hopefully everybody's getting there. Even if some folks over in Denham Springs, where I live, are starting to get power. I know I don't have power. No, Tommy doesn't. But we'll be we're at Court Street Cafe over in Port Allen. If you go over the Mississippi River Bridge in Baton Rouge, every place over the Mississippi River Bridge, every place over is west of Baton Rouge is good. So if you know where gas is, send a smoke signal. Not where gas is. Where gas is without 3,000 cars in line. I know where gas stations are that have gas. They just have 3,000 cars in line, and I don't have 24 hours to sit in line.
I got a story for you. I went and got gas early this morning.
Like, what's early?
6:45. I get in line, literally 6:52 to be exact. I'm on Jefferson, right across from the old Churchill's at that Chevron. I'm like 10, 11 cars back. Less than 20 minutes, I was out of there. Because there's like 8 pumps there. They had a dude in the parking lot. Okay, car, you go to that lane. This car, you go here.
Right.
And then, but you have to pay cash.
Yeah.
I was ready for both. You know me, I always carry a lot of cash. But the guy next to me didn't have any cash. I was like, dude, I'll give you some cash. You can Venmo me, you know. And then his wife or something handed him money. But anyway, less than 20 minutes, I topped up the tank.
Where was it?
The Chevron on Jefferson near Bocage.
Okay.
Across from like Churchill's.
Yeah.
Now they jacked the price up.
Well, first off, that's the most expensive gas station in Baton Rouge normally.
Anyway, it was $3.19 this morning.
They were price gouging before the hurricane, so I can't imagine
it was $3.19.
But it's only $3.19.
Yeah, but again, from the time I got in line behind a vehicle I was behind till the time I was pulling out was 17, 18 minutes.
Yeah,
I consider myself very lucky.
No, you're one of the luckiest people I know.
A girl told me yesterday she waited 2 hours, got to the front, they ran out of gas.
You are correct, Craig. Generac sales are going up, but here's the thing: is that I would buy one of those Mac Daddy Generac things, but then who's going to get it to me when installed and hooked up? I mean,
a friend that bought one a couple months ago still doesn't have it, and now with this, it's going to be even longer.
I know a lot of people, by the way, that have had those built-in generators at their house, the ones that automatically come on and all that, and cost thousands of dollars. I even know 2 people that are close friends of mine that had them tested, a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier. The time came, game time, nothing. And you talk about spending $10,000-$15,000. For this is when you need it. You don't need it any other time. This is when you need it, and it doesn't work. Oh boy, that would burn my what. But anyway, here we are at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen, and it's just right over the Mississippi River Bridge from downtown Baton Rouge. Just when you get off of that first Port Allen exit, just go right. Second light is where we are, and hey, they got air conditioning, they got breakfast, they got lunch. Stop on by, and we saw people over here that drove from New Orleans. Because they couldn't get food yesterday, along the way. So definitely stop by Court Street Cafe. A lot going on to talk about. We obviously thoughts and prayers with any of you that are in the situation I know Tommy and I are in with no power still. Many of you are worse off and will be suffering for a long, long time, or you've now evacuated and you're living somewhere else, which that's what I hope you do. I hope if you don't have power, you don't have water, you got major damage, don't try to stick around and be a hero. Get out of town, go to a family member or a friend's house, or call Tommy. He's got an extra room. You can go stay with him. Saints, by the way, are homeless. We found out that the first game of the year that they're supposed to be hosting against the Green Bay Packers on the 12th of September is not going to happen in New Orleans. It's not going to happen in Dallas, which we all thought might be the case because you look at the schedule. The Cowboys are on the road the first 2 weeks.
There's a concert.
But there's a big concert in the stadium, so therefore no Saints in Dallas. We'll find out maybe later today. Mickey Loomis expected to make some announcements on where they're going to practice, where they're going to live, where they're going to play over the next month.
Well, they're going to practice at TCU next week. They've already figured that out. But I saw a list of possibilities to play the game against Green Bay, Denver, They're talking about, a lot of, Las Vegas, which I think Saints fans would like that. They're talking about lots of things, and it's not necessarily going to be close where you could drive to it like you could in Dallas or even perhaps Atlanta. So Mickey Loomis expected to make an announcement later today on that. Again, first regular season game, September 12 against the Packers. Perhaps later today you find out where.
Where? It's not going to be, if it's not LSU, it's not Dallas, it's not Green Bay. Where do you think?
They said they're going to announce later. Whether it's in
where would you
Denver
want to see them?
Vegas, it don't matter to me. I'm not going. I'm not driving to Vegas. And we'll find out later today. The famous Ronnie Rantz quote: "Let it play out."
I think for most fans, I'm sure the players, Vegas would be the option. I mean, it's an indoor facility, it's on turf. That way, it's similar to what the Saints are used to. It's what the Saints were going to play anyway. You don't want to give Green Bay an advantage and play on natural surface, which is what they play on. So the little bit of difference it might make. And it's truly a neutral site. You'll have a lot of fans for both if you play that game in Vegas. There's 1 million flights from all over the country into Vegas, 1 million hotel rooms. I don't know why that wouldn't be the deal. I hope it is, and if so, maybe I'll go.
You should go. You could do that, but we'll find out later today. And it could be somewhere else. We're speculating there.
No real major surprises on the cuts with the Saints. Obviously yesterday the big story was Cam Newton, who was expected to be the starting quarterback for the Patriots. They moved on. Now it's going to be Mac Jones, the rookie out of Alabama. But for the Saints, nothing that really caught your eye.
Nothing earth-shattering. A couple of the guys that they signed for camp, Devontae Freeman, a running back, they ended up cutting him. Hogan, the wide receiver. They cut Trevor Siemian, but there's a report this morning they may try to bring him back to back up Jameis Winston, so Taysom Hill can do other things offensively, and then you'd have Ian Book, the Notre Dame guy, on the practice squad. But I ripped through the complete list of cuts league-wide. I saw Danny Etling, former Tiger quarterback, get cut by the Vikings. And there may have been another LSU name or two on there, but I went through it quickly yesterday and didn't have any other major names. Cam Newton would be the top name, league-wide that bit the dust there.
Well, we said it yesterday on the show that Cam Newton probably, if Bill Belichick was teeter-tottering at all, the whole situation with the vaccine, not wanting to be vaccinated, and then having the contact tracing issues and all that stuff, Bill Belichick just don't want to deal with that.
Right.
And if it's close at all, go with the guy that is going to be able to be there week in and week out versus all the drama that comes with Cam Newton. That said, Bill Belichick said all the right things. He said, it had nothing to do with the vaccine. It was strictly a performance thing, blah, 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 blah. Well, Urban Meyer, the first-year head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, did not do all the right things. And you feel like this guy just continues to put his foot in his mouth.
The Urban Meyer experiment's not going to last long, certainly not in the next year. I mean, from day one when he hired that strength coach who had all the issues with domestic violence, to players, NFL players, mad because he's got a coach running around with a megaphone while they stretch and yell and get fired up. It's a college thing. That's not the NFL. It's different. And he, the whole Tim Tebow fiasco, it wasn't going to make the team, but Urban did it. And Urban Meyer just continues to make mistake after mistake as an NFL coach. His college record speaks for itself. But this experiment in Jacksonville is just not working. And, they got Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be the guy. But, they're not going to win more than 5 or 6 games, I wouldn't think. But Urban Meyer, he made a comment about, if you were vaccinated or not vaccinated, played into how we finished the roster. Well, immediately the NFL Players Association.
I cannot believe he did.
Well, because he doesn't know, Ronnie. He's a college guy. He doesn't know the protocol or the etiquette. It's like the guy that goes to the golf course and doesn't know the etiquette to let a group through or whatever you got to do on the course.
That's just common sense.
Okay, well, he don't have that in the NFL. And that continues to be a joke in Jacksonville. They'll get another coach for next year, I'm quite certain.
I mean, you don't need to be trained. You just need to have half a brain to realize you can't say that you are firing somebody or getting rid of somebody, at least at this point in time. Yeah. Maybe when the Supreme Court withholds that at some point in the future. But right now, you can't say you're firing or getting rid of a guy because they won't be vaccinated.
Well, and Cousins, the quarterback in Minnesota, has refused to get vaccinated. Now people are questioning his ability to lead the team
Right.
because he won't get vaccinated. I mean, again, it's a personal choice. We've all been through that story enough times.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is that regardless of what you feel about the whole vaccination thing, if 90% of the team is like, hey, man, whether I believe in vaccines or not, it's what I got to do to get paid. It's what I got to do to be in the NFL. It's what I got to do to keep moving forward in my career. Yeah, whatever. Jab me with whatever you want. Okay. And then your quarterback, the most important player on the team, the face of your franchise, doesn't do it. Therefore, I don't know if he's going to be there week in and week out. I know at the meeting he's got to sit 3 football fields away from me. And I got to worry about whether or not my saliva touches them or not. Like, I mean, it gets silly. It's just a headache that unless you're Tom Brady, I just don't want to deal with. I mean, Kirk Cousins, nice quarterback. I think for me, he's right in the middle of the pack. Maybe the 15th, 16th best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. Nice quarterback. A lot of teams would love to have him. But is he that big of a difference? Is it that worth all that? The headache, the distraction, the questions constantly. Is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there? Like, probably not. And you can't say that, but probably not.
Well, yeah. And again, in the NFL, it's all about winning a football game on Sunday, collectively speaking, whether you play Thursday or Monday. But it's all about winning a game. And if it's too much of a distraction, they're going to eliminate it, like Bill Belichick did. But then he didn't say anything out of line like Urban Meyer did. So anyway, we'll see how that all plays out.
So congratulations to Carl the cat.
He's getting old.
Carl Dunn in the house. He had a birthday today. Not going to ask how old unless you want to tell us, Carl. But Craig and Nookie and all of us wish Carl the cat a happy birthday. Carl, the super fan for the LSU Tigers, no doubt about it. I'll tell you a funny story of Carl the cat.
Okay.
So when I was at LSU playing ball in the early 90s, my family lived in Phoenix, Arizona. And so a good friend of the family's, Jerry Peterson, was a good friend of my mom and dad. He oftentimes, when he knew I was going to pitch, would come to the games like a big camcorder kind of thing, record me from the first base line stands, just record a few innings and then ship the VHS tape to my parents in Phoenix, Arizona. And so years ago, and this is pre-flood because I think I lost those tapes in the flood in 16. I was going through a box, found some tapes. What's this? You pop it in. Okay, found some games, McNeese on a Tuesday as a freshman, whatever. And I'm watching the video and all of a sudden I hear, "Come on, Ronnie!" And I'm hearing, and it's Carl. Carl was in the stands, right? I must have been sitting right next to Jerry, and he's like all over the tape. You can hear him talking, and I think even one time maybe Jerry swings the camera, and you can see a young Carl the cat 30 years ago, 55 and still alive.
Speed limit. But anyway,
I can't drive 55.
I think Carl can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he rode to Omaha in the back of a pickup truck.
No, he did. Either there or back.
Or one of the directions. He in the back of a pickup truck to Omaha, which is not like going over here to Port Allen. Okay.
And then another time, I want to say Greyhound bus might have been the same trip. I mean, the guy is legendary super fan. All right, so we move on. Nothing really new to report per se out of LSU. They're over in Houston. They're going to leave on Thursday. The good news is, right, that they got Stingley back at practice. What percentage is he back? How much will he play? Blah, blah, blah. But always good to have, arguably the best DB in the country.
And does he line up on offense, even if he just as a decoy? Right. Now we checked this morning, right? The line is down to LSU -3, 65.5 on the over.
It was 4.5 a week and a half ago. And then now
I actually locked in at 3.5 over a week ago.
Okay.
Thinking that if UCLA look good, it might change, or vice versa.
Now you might not be able to get 3 if you're betting with a bookie in Baton Rouge, right?
Unless you buy the half.
You might have to buy it. You might be able to buy 3 online or a bookie somewhere else, but usually, the favorite, everybody likes LSU -3 that lives in Baton Rouge. The bookies know that, and they got a lot of money on that. It's going to be a 3.5 or 4, if you get it here locally. But you're going to have to probably shop around to find the 3 without buying the hook, but you can. And my God, I mean, I mean, I know UCLA looked good, and I know they did everything well, and they dominated Hawaii and all that. But I'm sprinting to the window to get -3.
Absolutely. I mean, and a lot of conversation this week, well, Hawaii didn't do, couldn't do anything, couldn't stop them. Well, it's Hawaii. Let's see what they do the rest of the year. That'll be the true stick. But look, and UCLA punched them in the mouth. They never responded. So I don't read a lot into it. I like the fact that LSU's players are NFL players this week. There's no school. There's no girlfriends. There's no distractions. It's just all about football. And then it's going to be head to L.A. And look, Coach O is going to have him in the right mindset. He does not like UCLA. He spent many years at USC. He refused to wear a blue shirt. I guess he'll wear the McNeese blue, but he won't wear a UCLA blue shirt but because of that rivalry out there in L.A. So I think he's going to have this team ready, and the defense has certainly got a lot to prove. I just think the Tigers, it could be a pillow fight in the first quarter, but I think the Tigers are going to run them out of the Rose Bowl. LSU fans are going to be real happy.
That's a good line right there, Nookie. Bishop Sycamore over Hawaii.
They would probably beat them. Bishop Sycamore.
That story just continues.
It won't stop, Ronnie.
It's incredible. The Bishop Sycamore, the high school out of Ohio that played in the opening weekend on ESPN. It was a marketing company who put together multiple high school matchups of games to kind of kick off the high school football season, and then ESPN carried them over the weekend. And of course, Bishop Sycamore is the Sid Finch of high school football, right? ESPN got punked by this. I don't know if the marketing company punked them. I don't know if the marketing company got punked, but the bottom line is that this is a joke. Bishop Sycamore is just like a shyster high school program, and they played terrible, by the way.
The best story, they had some 30-year-olds on the team.
Did they really?
And they had a picture in the parking lot, one of the players with the wife and kids, and the kids are 6 and 7 years old.
No.
And he was on Bishop Sycamore's team.
No.
That should have been the giveaway.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. I'll tell you what.
You said don't blame ESPN.
Well, no, because ESPN
but somewhere it has to blame them.
Yeah, no. Obviously, it's just like any head coach. If a player does something wrong or assistant coach is wrong, you blame the head coach. So, yeah, ESPN gets some blame. But ESPN, there's so much. I'll give you the comparison. If Cox Sports Television says we're going to carry a Jumbo Sports Network production of a game, which they've done for 18 years, and all of a sudden Jumbo Sports Network, has a problem or something goes wrong with the broadcast or whatever, CSC is going to get the heat, but they didn't do anything but just sit back and wait for the signal. And that's kind of what happened with this thing, with the marketing deal that ESPN reached with this company, is that, this marketing company who's been around and done these matchups before and done games on ESPN, they hired them to put together the matchup. Supposedly they did wave the white flag, the alert, a couple of red flag, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, where they were digging around for information on players, for graphics, to get a little, for announcers and stuff, and they couldn't really find anything. So they had a conversation, but think about it, Tommy. And again, we're going to find out more, and there'll probably be a 30 for 30 on Bishop Sycamore at some point to get behind the scenes to find out really what happened. But clearly this marketing company was duped as well.
And I'm not 100% on this, but I think I heard somebody say there's actually no bishop named Sycamore. So that should have been the telltale. You got Bishop. You got other bishops all over.
The Bishop Munch.
Yeah, well, but it's like maybe that should have been the telltale. And again, I'm not 100% on that. I don't have a roster of bishops, but anyway, it's just hey.
So Jamie Fortenberry asks, how do you get elected to Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame? First off, it's LSHOF, not LAHOF, but I appreciate it anyway. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, of course, located in Natchitoches. And, hey, while you don't have power, go to Natchitoches, get a hotel room, and just hang out there. The Hall of Fame's open Tuesday through Saturday, and beautiful town and everything. The real simple answer is that you go to the website, lasportshall.com. That's lasportshall.com. You click on the Hall of Fame tab, and it says nominate a candidate. It's in bright yellow. You can't miss it. And it gives you the instructions on how to nominate someone. But minimally, just to be considered, to even be thought to be put on the ballot, you have to have played 2 years of high school sports in Louisiana, or 2 years college, or 5 years professional. So someone like Peyton Manning played his high school ball here. Somebody like Shaq, 3 years at LSU. Somebody like Drew Brees, 5 or more with the Saints. they would qualify as being in their categories. And then, of course, from there, you have to provide information and whatnot to get nominated. We'll elect the Hall of Famers for the 2022 class later this month. Probably go public with the class 1st of October, something like that. And it's always going to be a great class. There's so many fantastic athletes in Louisiana.
And let me say this: I have nominated somebody for the Hall of Fame, and it's not something you fill out a form in 5 minutes. And we spent weeks putting information together on the person that we nominated, getting every little factoid that we could, talk to people, got letters of recommendation. Yeah, it's not, don't
if you want to do it right.
Don't think you're going to go in there. Hey, I want to nominate Tommy Krysan. He lives in Baton Rouge, and then hit submit. That ain't how it goes. So it's a much detailed process, and it should be. It's very honored to be put in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. You look at the people who are in there. So keep that in mind, too. It's a very serious thing that if you're going to do it right.
Let's jump back to the NFL and talk about Urban Meyer for a minute. You mentioned how he just continues to keep putting his foot in his mouth. And obviously it's a franchise that needs a lot of issues, right? There's been rumors that they might become the London Jaguars. They're already playing a game or two every year over there. Obviously not now with COVID, but fan base isn't supporting it that great. The team has been down more than it's been up, but they've got an opportunity now with Trevor Lawrence. They've got their franchise quarterback guy that should be the quarterback for the next 6+ years. You've got Etienne from Jennings.
He's already out for the year.
What did he do?
Tore up a knee. He's out for the year.
Yeah, with Hall of Fame and COVID and everything, I missed that one. But you would think Urban Meyer, who's been a fantastic college coach, I mean, literally next to Nick Saban, the greatest coach in the last 20 years, why he wouldn't have learned from all the people that have come before him, the Nick Sabans, the Steve Spurriers. Why haven't you learned what to do and what not to do? And it seems like he's making a lot of the same mistakes, which is crazy.
Yeah, he should have called them guys. Maybe he should have called Jimmy Johnson. I know that's decades ago, but he was successful. So, it's just he didn't take advice, or he didn't want advice, or he took it but didn't heed it. I don't know, but it's not a good situation in Jacksonville. Locker room really upset with him. You got some veteran NFL guys that think he's treating everything like a college team, and you can't do that in the NFL. For years I covered the Saints in person, at practice, in the dome, and it's just a different deal than college. I don't care how you slice it. I don't care if you're good or bad. It's still the NFL. There are only 32 teams, 53 men on each team, and 20 coaches on each team. That's it.
I think that probably Urban Meyer does survive this year. I think for Jacksonville's standpoint, it would be more tumultuous if they just, waved the white flag and fired him after year one. So I do think he'll make it for 2 years, but clearly this doesn't seem like it's trending in the right direction unless just somehow Trevor Lawrence is way better than we thought he would be and takes his team on his shoulders. And, by the way, the division that the Jacksonville Jaguars are in outside of Buffalo is kind of wide open. For the first time, we don't know what we're going to get in New England. We don't really know what we're going to get in Miami, so there's an opportunity there that's a little different than it's been in the past.
Well, in the old saying, Ronnie, winning cures everything. If Trevor Lawrence is all that in a bag of chips, they end up winning 9 or 10 games. People will forget about the megaphone at practice and the vaccine comment. Winning cures lots of that stuff.
Also, let's tell you, we mentioned, let's go back over to college football. You mentioned the 3 points that LSU is favored by, and we both love to take the Tigers minus the 3. Ragin Cajuns +9 in Austin. That line is +9. If you can, again, you'll probably get 8 in Louisiana and Baton Rouge because everybody's really liking the Ragin Cajuns and drinking the sauce because they got everybody back from a 10-win team a year ago. But they're also picking up a $1.5 million paycheck. Not many times do you pick up a $1.5 million paycheck from an opponent and actually feel like you really got a chance to win.
I think they got a great chance to win straight up. They went on the road, beat Iowa State last year, who's ranked now and ended up having a great year. And,
no fans at that one, though, versus there'll be fans at this one.
20 out of 21 starters back. Billy Napier, his track record speaks for itself. Levi Lewis, Scotlandville guy. I mean, this is a dual threat quarterback. Maybe not big enough to play in the NFL, is the earlier report, but I promise you he's going to move the Cajuns up and down the field. So, no, they got, take a wager on the money line. I mean, they're plus 230 on the money line. So, Ragin Cajuns, I guarantee you this, they're going to Austin thinking they're going to win the game. They're not
100%.
They don't, the 1.5 million paycheck, that's great. That helps the budget. But they're going over there thinking they're going to win, where a lot of paycheck games around the country, yeah, we're going to go win, but you're not. But ULL thinks they're going to win, and they might.
A couple other college football news to tell you about. How about Jimbo Fisher? My goodness. Signs and gets a raise, gets an extension. How about this? He signed a 10-year, $75 million deal. Now he's going into year 4. They tear it up, give him a new 10-year, $90 million deal. So he's now the second highest paid coach. Nick's getting 10-3, 10-6, something like that over there in Alabama. But he's got a guaranteed another $90 million in 10 years coming. If he wants to ride out all 10 years, no matter what happens, he's going to get 9. It's incredible.
That's amazing. It was mind-boggling numbers. And the thing is, he's going to have to win the SEC West to get to Atlanta to get to the playoff. I mean, that's the way it goes now. If the playoff expands, it'll be a whole nother story. But it's not expanding this year and probably not next. So good for Jimbo Fisher. Hey, you're worth what somebody will pay you. And he's got plenty of money, generations of wealth in his family now. So now the bottom line is the Aggies want to see him win the SEC West, want to see him, get over to Atlanta and win an SEC championship.
Malcolm Butler. You remember that name?
Signed with the Cardinals and retired.
31-year-old is now officially retired. Obviously, his shining moment was the interception in Arizona to secure the win against the Seahawks when Russell Wilson threw the interception. Butler jumped the slant, and the rest is history. And, arguably the Tyree catch off the Eli Manning throw. But I think the Butler was the biggest play in the history of the Super Bowl. It literally changed who won the game. Like Tyree extended the drive and everything.
Yeah.
It was over. Like Tom Brady thought the game. It was over.
When if they hand off to Marshawn Lynch, it might be over.
Right.
And here's a great story. Tom Brady was named MVP of that game, and with that, he got some $70,000 pickup truck. He gave it to Malcolm Butler because he made a whole lot more money than Malcolm at the time. He gave the truck to Malcolm. Said, I got plenty of stuff. You take this truck. You had the pick in the end zone when you jumped the route. And I think it's arguably one of the top Super Bowl plays ever.
I think it's because, there has not been. There's been so many great plays.
Has there been a game-winning field goal? Or would it miss?
Well, sure.
Vinatieri,
for the Giants. Vinatieri got the kick. But kicks. Okay. This is Tom Brady's sitting there on the bench, that's just it. I lost.
They're going to hand it off to Lynch, and we're going to lose.
Like there was no one who thought that they were going to win that game, and then all of a sudden, Malcolm Butler by himself, great read, jumps the slant. And it's just changed the whole person. Think about it. What that might have done to the Patriots had they lost. It's another Super Bowl that Tom Brady doesn't get. You don't know the dominoes that it affects down the line. And by the way, Seattle and Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson and what that franchise looks like now and feels like now, and who knows? If the Seahawks win that Super Bowl, maybe everybody wants to go to Seattle and play, and
good point. I'll go with you.
There's so much that went into that play, and it was, literally, if you watch the NFL films on Tom Brady, he's over there on the sidelines. He might have even been on the bench, or he's just, head down, it's
he's
over.
Thinking about what do I say after the game when they ask about us losing? He's thinking about his speech.
Unbelievable.
Well, okay, I know it wasn't at the end of the game, but the Saints onside kick to start the third quarter. That didn't really decide the game like Butler did, but
it's a great play. But no,
it's way below Butler. But I wanted to give the Saints some props.
By the way, a board member for Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, Tristan Manthe, who went to Brother Martin, Tulane, lives down in New Orleans, and Tristan has the ball
from the onside kick.
Yeah, he got it. He got it at an auction.
That's cool.
Literally has the ball. Avalanche was the name, right?
Yeah.
Avalanche was the name of that play. He's got the ball, which this past weekend, Marcus Colston got inducted into Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We were at breakfast Saturday morning with all the Hall of Famers having a meeting. Tristan was there, and he told Tristan's got an unbelievable. I mean, he probably has the greatest sports collection of memorabilia of anybody in the state of Louisiana, and that's not an exaggeration. But he doesn't do it for money. He does it just because he's got an illness and he just loves collecting stuff like that. He told Colston about it, and Colston looked at him like, "What?" Like, wow, that's incredible. And then Terry McCauley, who's the NFL official, was like, well, how do you know you have the ball? Because they use different balls and da-da-da-da-da. And then they started going into the model and what kind and what's marked on the ball and all that. And McCauley's like, well, you might actually have it. You know?
Yeah, well, they put chips in them balls now. But, the other thing, who was the place kicker Hartley then?
Yes.
Okay, because when they were coming out of the tunnel in the third, to run out on the field after the long halftime, Peyton went to him and said, Avalanche. I remember the story was he looked at him like, are you serious? Like, couldn't believe
it was the punter, Morstead.
He said, Morstead. He said, we're going Avalanche third quarter kick. And Morstead was like, holy smokes. Right. And they pulled it off. Because he didn't want to tell them before half.
Right.
He told them when they were running out on the field, which then you got like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and you're kicking it.
Right. Yeah, pretty unbelievable. But that's as far as collectibles go, especially for a Saints fan, that's really cool to have really the ball. Ambush. Thank you, Mom.
Ambush, not Avalanche.
Yeah, my mom corrected me. She heard the story. It's Ambush, not Avalanche.
Okay. Right. Well,
although they both are good names.
You know what we meant.
But what's funny is that on Ambush is that there's an argument over who recovered the ball. Who recovered the onside kick is debatable. So.
Hey, they won the game. They won the Super Bowl. That's the important part.
And if you need a loan, call Jimbo Fisher. 10 years, $90 million deal. All right, he's Tommy Krysan. I'm Ronnie Rantz. Tell folks out there about Court Street
Court Street Cafe. They're open. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, regular hours. They'll be open Sunday for brunch. 805 Court Street in Port Allen. Come over to Mississippi River Bridge, veer to the right, second red light, take a right. We had lunch here yesterday. It was outstanding. Had a nice crowd. They're open. Got the bar in the back if you want a cold beer, whatever. They'll have ball games on as we go forward. Court Street Cafe. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram. It's a great way to keep up with the lunch specials, the dinner specials. Court Street Cafe, Facebook and Instagram, and, of course, right here on Court Street in Port Allen. You need to check it out real soon.
He's Tommy. I'm Ronnie. Have a safe one, everybody. Fingers crossed that when we talk to you tomorrow, you'll have power. Yes. We hope we will.
I need power.
Probably won't, but hopefully you